Hey everybody, my name is Daniel Watkins and I am the Worship and Creative Arts Pastor here at One Church, and I want to let you know about a few things and ways to connect. Our vision is to create spaces people love to come so that change people can change their communities. Today is about how we can personally connect the people in our lives to the greatest hope in the world. If you would like to help us create a thriving online service by hosting or connecting with other viewers, email us or message us today. We'd love to connect with you on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or our website at onechurchhartsville.com. We hope you enjoy this message.
What's up, everybody? I bet you have people in your lives that are hurting or going through difficult seasons that you would love to see introduced to the hope that you found in Jesus, but it's just so hard to do that. Today, I want to tell you a way that you can do that that's not weird or awkward and won't push them away. And I got three categories of people I'd love for you to think about. One is, I bet you got some people in your life that are just apathetic toward spiritual things. I mean, you know what I mean? They just don't think they need Jesus. They don't think they need really anything. And if you were to bring up Jesus, they would be like, that's nice, but not for me. You know, they sort of get that nervous laugh. It's like, those are for the kooky religious people. I don't really need that in my life. And so you might have somebody in your life that's sort of just spiritually apathetic. They don't really know they have a need there. They don't really care, and they're okay with you doing your thing over in your corner. So there's one group. So if you got somebody in that category in your life that you would love to encounter the good things that come out of a relationship with God, just go ahead and think about that name of somebody that's spiritually apathetic. Another category is somebody that's just anti-church, because probably they've been burnt by either religion or religious people. And if you bring up Jesus to them, they're going to get sort of angry at you. Because they've been burnt by people that call themselves Christians, even though they might not really be Christians. And so if you go there, it really makes them mad. Or maybe they don't get mad and say something, but they just leave. And you feel like if you bring up God to them or you bring up the good news of Jesus, you just feel like you get pushed away. And you don't want to break that relationship, because you know that relationship you have with them is important. And actually, relationships are a God thing. And so you don't want to mess that up. And so you probably don't say anything to them, which maybe is wiser than saying the wrong thing. So you got the apathetic people that just maybe don't care or don't know they need help there. Angry people that have probably a good reason to be angry because of what somebody's done to them or what they've seen religion do, maybe in other people's lives. The third category, I bet everybody knows somebody. It's the person whose life looks nothing like Jesus. They're full of hate, they struggle, they don't forgive, They're not generous, like all the fruits that come with being a follower of Jesus. You don't see those in their lives. But if you were to ask them, are you a Christian? They would say, absolutely, because I said a prayer, or because I went to church, or because a preacher said, if you don't want to go to hell, say these 17 words after me, and they did that. And so they're probably not followers of Jesus. They probably know about Jesus and would love for Jesus to give them a ticket out of hell, but they're not really followers of Jesus. But you can't even talk to them about that, because if you say, are you a Christian, or if the conversation came up, they would probably be almost like militant in saying that, yes, I'm a Christian. And if you doubt it, then you're probably not a Christian. But it's not about labels. It's about, like, we love them enough that, man, it would be so great if they encountered the life-changing goodness of Jesus that has been able to make me where I can forgive other people. It's changed me over the course of my life. And you would just love for them not to experience religion, but to experience that. Today, if you've got anybody in those three categories in your life, and you would say, I want them to encounter the goodness of Jesus, then today is for you. And I just want to, maybe one other thing before we start reading, one other thing to press on is, if you're a disciple, a follower of Jesus, it is every disciple's job to make more disciples. And I don't know how many you made over the course of your life, but as we head into 2022 and you think about what are my goals and my dreams for this year, I can't really imagine one that's much more important than you saying, one of my goals this year is that I would lead somebody into a relationship with Jesus, not religion, not church, not trying harder, but a relationship with Jesus that would change everything in their lives. And I tell you, if you do that, that sounds like a pretty good year. And so today I want to help you do that. I don't care how new you are to Christianity or how long you've been doing it. I want to give you a model for how you can start that conversation with them. And it comes from a story, or a letter that a guy named Paul wrote, but it's a letter about a story, so that's sort of right. It's from the book of 1 Corinthians. It starts in 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 28. Here's what Paul said. God chose the lowly things of this world, the despised things, and the things that are not, to nullify the things that are. So if you're like me and you feel like I'm probably not the person that knows enough to help them, or I'm not the person that's spiritually strong enough, or maybe I'm not prayed up enough, or maybe I'm not holy enough, or whatever words come to mind, Paul says that God chooses the lowly things, the things that know they don't have it all together. And so if what's been holding you back from introducing people to the best thing you know, which is Jesus, if you're a Jesus follower, right? If what's been holding you back is that you say, I'm one of the lowly things, then Paul says the lowly things are the things that God chooses to use to help the most people. So Paul says, you're it. This is for you. He says in verse 29, so that, he uses lowly things, so that no one can boast before them. It is because of him that you're in Jesus. So maybe you shouldn't think of yourself too lowly, because he chose you to be in Jesus and to receive this new life where you can forgive and where you don't have to be full of bitterness and negativity. So he says, you're in Jesus, who has become for us wisdom from God, that is our righteousness, holiness, and redemption. Therefore, as it is written, let the one who boasts boast in the Lord. Now here's the turn. You ready? So this is really cool. It starts chapter 2, but it's just one letter. So originally there were no chapter breaks in here. So he says this, and so it was with me. I don't know where you're watching from right now. I don't know if it's Sunday morning or if it's during the week. I don't even know if it's 2022. You could be coming back and looking at this 2 years from now. But the Apostle Paul said, if you feel like you're one of the lowly ones and you feel like you're not in a position to help people, actually you are, because Jesus chose to save you. And then he says, and that's my story too. The Apostle Paul, that's my story too. His impact has changed the world. It's changed the history of families. And maybe yours can too, if you would get serious about, let's lead maybe one person to an authentic, not religion, not repeat these words after me so you don't go to hell when you die, but an authentic relationship with Jesus, where they follow him and are changed by him. And when they do that, it changes their family and it changes their workplace. Who knows what influence you could have if you would take just this one Sunday morning seriously. So he says this. This is me. Paul says, this is the same thing for me. When I came to you, he went to these people there in a town called Corinth. I did not come with eloquence or human wisdom as I proclaimed to you the testimony about what God did. I didn't come with you with like fancy words. All I did is came and I told you a testimony. I told you what God did in my life. For I resolved to know nothing while I was with you except Jesus, and Jesus crucified. I came to you in my weakness, Paul says, with great fear and trembling. My message and my preaching were not with wise words. That makes me feel a lot better each week. Not with wise and persuasive words, but a demonstration of the Spirit's power, so that your faith might not rest on human hands, on human wisdom, but on God's power. So today, I want to give you a model of what you can do if you would like to have conversations that might start inching people closer to an authentic relationship with Jesus. Now, first, you can't save people. Second, you can't even prepare people's hearts to be saved. You're like a farmer, and if the ground's hard, like you really can't fix that, and if it doesn't have enough nutrients, you can't do that overnight. God sends storms, and storms soften ground in people's hearts, and so you never know when people are ready. But God prepares hearts. Only God can save, but you can plant the seeds of good news in people's lives. And if we do that unwisely, just like a farmer who plants unwisely, we waste it. And so if we go to the person who's apathetic and we tell them, you need Jesus, you need Jesus, you need Jesus, and they don't think they need any help, that's planting seeds unwisely. If we go to the person who's angry at religion, angry at religious people, like, you need religion, you need to come to church, we're probably causing more harm to the soil than we are doing good, and the seed is definitely not going to grow. If we go to the person who already thinks they're a Christian and says that you just need to become a Christian, and like, check, like, we're not helping there. But I want to give you a model today for how you can share the good news of Jesus in a way that everybody can do, and it's not going to be weird, and it's not going to push them away, but it really is going to engage people. I've got three words. If you can use these 3 words, I'm telling you, you can start a conversation with those people that you love, that you really want to encounter the goodness of having a relationship with God. Like forgiveness of sins, the change that comes with it. And my goodness, we haven't even talked about the future. Like that even death itself can't win if somebody's in Jesus. And you have the power to tell people about that. And so today, I want to give you 3 words. And here's the first word. The first word is bigger. A lot of people, like they say, I don't need religion, but they know they need something bigger in their lives. And what you can do, instead of coming and trying to cram like religious words down their throat. See, Paul said, I didn't come with you with a lot of wise words. And I would encourage you not to go with people with a lot of religious words. You know, like the words we know that are good words. Like you could go to somebody and you could say, hey, you need to surrender your life to Jesus, repent from your sins, turn from your wicked ways, give your life to Jesus, put your faith on Jesus who was died, buried, and resurrected on the 3rd day so that you can go to heaven when you die. Like all that's great. But if they don't hear it, if they reject that because as soon as they hear religious words, they think, hey, that's not for me because they're apathetic. That's not for me because I'm angry at religious people. Or that's not for me because I've already checked that box. Then it doesn't do any good. But I tell you what people want. Everybody wants to be a part of something bigger than them. They want to be a part of a story that is larger than they are. In our culture, so many times, we say, it's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about me. It's all about the individual. And that's great. That makes us feel good. That makes us go buy stuff. But that leads to an empty life. And so many of your people around you, and so many of the people you're thinking of that you are so desperate for them to encounter the good news of Jesus, they have got to the point now that they're actually looking for something bigger. They're looking for something bigger than themselves. The apathetic person may not think they need religion, but I bet they're looking for a story to land in that's bigger than them. So that when the trials of life come, they get all washed around, but they can hold on to that. I bet the person that's angry at religion may not want to hold on to some religious story, but I bet deep down inside, if they knew somebody who said, I've got something big in my life, something bigger than me, something bigger than my best days, something bigger than my worst days that I could hold on to, I bet that's attractive. And the person that says, I've checked that box, I've said a prayer, but they've never really followed Jesus, they know on the inside they're missing something. They're missing being a part of a bigger story. The second word, and we're going to put all these together at the end. The second word is this, is change. You can tell people how you have been changed, how you want to continue changing, how God is changing you. Thank God from a humble standpoint, because like, I need changing. You could say, you need changing. Change. And another thing here I think that our culture is missing is we say, you're okay just the way you are. Now, that's true in terms of love, that we love people just the way they are. But I think everybody deep down inside knows is that if we say, I love you just the way you are, never change, that's missing half the story. Because love calls us to grow. And love calls us to change. And I bet the person that's apathetic towards spiritual things is interested, deep down inside, is interested in getting a hold of a story and getting a hold of something bigger than them that will call them to become the best version of themselves, that will call them to change, that will call them to do things that make no sense, like forgive and to give and to serve and to love their enemies and to turn the other cheek and to go the extra mile. I bet they are looking for something. They're not looking for religion, but I bet they're looking for something that's bigger than them, that calls them to change and become the best version of who they are. And you can use that word. I bet the person that knows in their mind they check that box with Christianity because they said a prayer is still dissatisfied that they're an angry, bitter person and they're a terrible father and not doing a good job in their marriage. Like, I bet they want to change. They want to change. And their 17-word prayer that they prayed at Bible school when they were 12 years old and thought they checked the box about following Jesus has not drove them to change because they didn't know Jesus. They haven't experienced that relationship. And meeting Jesus always equals change. Like, you can use the word change. You can talk about being something bigger than me, something changed. And the third word is this, commitment. And now that word is not very popular, but it's sort of the same thing. It's like maybe you're not the biggest fan of chocolate cake. Let's say you could take it or leave it, but let's say you haven't had it for 20 years and then somebody offers you a piece. Well, it's like, that's something I want, you know what I mean? Because we've been missing it for so long that maybe we didn't think we want it because that's all we ever. Chocolate cake's a terrible example, but you know what I mean? There's something you haven't had that you sort of like, but you haven't had it for years, and they used to force feed it down your throat all the time. But now you haven't had it for 20 years and somebody offers it to you and you're like, oh, I'll take that. That's commitment. That nobody's pushing commitment. And there's something in us that knows that we are called to latch on to something and say yes to the right thing, come hell or high water. So, here you go. You ready? I want to share the gospel with you without immediately turning off the person who's apathetic towards spiritual things, without immediately turning off the person who's anti-religion, and without immediately turning off the person that thinks they've already checked the box. How about this? When conversations can't come up at work and at home and at school, can you say something like this? Can you say things like, thank God I'm connected to something bigger than me? I think that's attractive. Like, thank God that even though we're going through this, I'm part of a bigger story. You know, that doesn't really push them away. That makes them sort of perk their ears up and almost want to ask, what? Which gives you an opening for the last part. Can you use that word? Something bigger than me. I'm so glad I'm part of a story bigger than me. I'm so glad I've got a mission that's bigger than me. I think that's very attractive to people in a world where we say it's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about you. And nobody's saying there's something bigger. So if you can use that word, it gives you an opening to point them to what we're going to say in a second. If you can say there's something that I'm called to change. Like, thank God I'm changed. Thank God I'm being changed. I know I need to continue to change. I have been changed from where I was. See, Paul said, in my weakness I boast. And if you can tell people about your weakness and say, this is how I've changed from my weakness, that gives a great introduction for them to say, what changed you? Why did you change? And then it gives you an opening to share the thing that we want to share. And the last one is this, is that you can, in your words, talk about a commitment. I love the word saved. But if you say, I'm saved, the people that we're talking about, the apathetic, the angry, and the people that are already consider themselves saved, cut you off immediately. But if we can talk about a commitment to something bigger than us that has changed our lives for the better, I think we can get the attention of those people. And when you get the attention of those people, you can finally come around and say the word Jesus. Not the religious Jesus, not the rules Jesus, not the say a 17-word prayer and everything's okay Jesus, but the Jesus that is calling every person to be a part of something bigger than us, so that we can be changed into the people that we're meant to be now and even up to and through death itself. But change becomes part of that, so we become the changed people that we know we're meant to be. And that all it takes to step from this side of that story to the other side, which is stepping into it, is making a commitment to Jesus. Now, if you start with Jesus, as much as I would love to start with Jesus, you might not get a word in with him. And you might be planting seed in hard soil. But if we can wisely use the words bigger, change, and commitment in our conversations, I believe we'll have openings that tell people about Jesus and Jesus crucified, who was raised on the third day to show that he was victorious over death and sin, so we can be too. So I just want to challenge you this year. Will you pick out the people in your lives that need to know that? And can you start having conversations about the thing in your life that's bigger than you? And can you start having conversations in your life about how you've changed and how you want to keep changing? And can you start conversations about a commitment you've made that has made all the difference in your life? And then when the door opens, we can introduce them to the one Paul said it's all about. And we can do it in a wise way to the people that we love. So this year, your goal, maybe, if you'd be willing to take it on, would you personally, not just at church, and we're going to share Jesus at church. In fact, this next Sunday, in person and online, we're going to share the gospel. We want to tell people, let's go from death to life. If you just think you said 17-word prayer, whatever, we want today, let's go from knowing about Jesus to knowing Jesus. Let's make sure everybody has stepped into this story of Jesus. But we can do that at church, and you can invite your friends to online, and you can invite your friends to in person. You should do that, and this next Sunday is a great chance to do that. If you want to do that, then bring them. Bring those people. Just say, come and see. I'll pay for your lunch. I'll pay for your breakfast. I'll do whatever it takes. Come on, come and see. But in addition to that, could you make it a goal this year that you would lead somebody, you would point somebody through conversations about this bigger story that's drawn you to change because of a commitment, that you would personally lead somebody to Jesus this year? Because every disciple is called to make more disciples. Online church, we love y'all. I just want to pray over you. I don't know what's going on in your lives. If you have something that we can help you with, message us, email us, let us know. We would love to continue to pray with you, maybe specifically over that thing. If you've got some encouragement for us, let us know. I got a text from somebody this week that said, hey, we really appreciate the new online format that speaks directly to us, and that really just made my day, because we're doing this new format because we really do want to speak to you where you're at with what's going on in your life, whether you're watching in the car or at work. I'll whisper so your boss doesn't hear. Just kidding. Okay, or in the car or wherever. We want to speak directly to you. So I really appreciate that encouragement. So if you've got some encouragement, or if you just want to help us do this, you can help us connect with people and serve people online, believe it or not. We'll tell you how to do that. But just let us know that through email, message, or anything else. And I just want to pray over all of us and over your families and the people that you love, and we'll close out this online service. Father, thank you for Jesus. Thank you that the story of Jesus is bigger than us. And it's not about me. It's not about any one of us as individuals. It's something that actually outlasts anything else we could build with our lives. It's bigger than the biggest storms. It's bigger than the biggest trials. Thank you, God, that the message of Jesus is something bigger than us. God, help us to let a culture who's been so focused on the small, on the me, on the individual, help us to let them know there is a way to be connected to something bigger than you. His name is Jesus. God, I pray that you would help us to let people know that there's a better way to be us, and that, God, you are calling us out to be the best version of who we are, full of forgiveness and grace and mercy. And it's through Jesus that we see that change. And let us talk about change, and let us talk about our weakness that you transformed and are changing and are molding. God, we thank you for that. And God, let us talk about a commitment that we made to you that makes all the difference. And Father, I pray that you would just burden the heart of every person watching right now that is a follower of you to figure out who it is that they need to intentionally have conversations that include the word bigger, change, and commitment. And they would have conversations that just sprinkle in, salt and pepper in, bigger, change, and commitment throughout the course of this year, starting as soon as they can. So that those people maybe will ask the question, what's that all about? And it gives us the opening to say, it is all about Jesus. God, please give them the wisdom to figure out who those people are, and then the courage and the opportunity to have those conversations, and give them the joy of knowing that they were an integral part of taking someone from death to life by introducing them to Jesus wisely, like a wise farmer planting those seeds. Father, I pray for the families and the hurt and the pain of the people watching right now, that you would bless them. Father, that you would grow them, that you would give them good things and help them to have a great week focused on you. I pray it in Jesus' name. Amen. Guys, thank you for being a part of our online service. We will see you next Sunday.